Assalamu alaikum, it's Sista Samilah. If you want to destroy a people, you don't just attack them directly, you systematically dismantle their families, and that's exactly what America has done to Black people for generations. Let me tell you something that's going to make you see everything differently. The breakdown of Black families that we're witnessing today is not an accident. It's not a moral failure. It's not because we suddenly forgot how to love each other or lost our values. What we're experiencing is the result of deliberate, systematic policies designed to tear Black families apart. From slavery to this very moment, America has waged war on Black family structures. And until we understand this, we cannot effectively fight back or rebuild what's been destroyed. Now, I know some people want to point fingers at individuals, blame Black men for not being present, criticize Black women for their choices, judge single mothers, or claim we've abandoned traditional values. But that narrative is exactly what the system wants you to believe. It wants you to think this is our fault, that we did this to ourselves. The truth is far more sinister and far more deliberate. The American system has spent centuries developing and implementing policies specifically designed to prevent Black families from forming, thriving, and staying together. Let's start at the beginning, because you cannot understand where we are without knowing where we've been. During slavery, Black families had no legal standing whatsoever. Enslaved people could not legally marry. Families were bought and sold separately as a matter of routine business practice. A mother could be nursing her baby in the morning and have that child sold away by afternoon. Husbands and wives were separated and sent to different plantations with no ability to contact each other or ever see each other again. Children were commodities to be sold for profit. This wasn't incidental cruelty. This was strategic. Slaveholders understood that strong families create strong communities, and strong communities resist oppression. So they made sure Black families could never be secure. They bred enslaved people like livestock, forcing reproduction while simultaneously preventing the formation of stable family units. They used the threat of family separation as a control mechanism. Behave or your children will be sold. Work harder or your husband will be whipped. Comply or your wife will be violated. Even after slavery ended, even after emancipation, the assault on Black families continued under different names with different methods, but the same goal. During Reconstruction, Black people started building strong families and communities. We got married legally for the first time. We reunited with lost family members, traveling across states searching for children, spouses, parents who had been sold away. We established schools, churches, businesses, and stable family structures. And what happened? The system struck back with Black codes, sharecropping systems that kept families in debt bondage, and eventually Jim Crow laws that maintained economic oppression. But here's where it gets really insidious. During the Jim Crow era, despite brutal oppression, despite terrorism, despite poverty, Black families remained relatively intact. We had high marriage rates. We had two-parent households. We had extended family networks. We had community structures that supported families. Not because Jim Crow was good. Let me be absolutely clear about that. Segregation was evil, violent, and dehumanizing. But within our segregated communities, we built strong internal structures. We had to rely on each other because we had no one else. We created institutions, support systems, and cultural practices that kept families together even under extreme pressure. Then came a shift. And this is where many people get confused about what happened. After the civil rights movement, after some legal barriers came down, after some economic opportunities opened up, something changed in Black family structure. Marriage rates started declining. Single-parent households increased dramatically. By 2025, we're looking at statistics that would shock our ancestors. We have more children born to unmarried parents than married ones. We have a generation of children growing up without fathers in the home. We have family structures that look nothing like what we had 60 years ago. Now, some people look at this timeline and draw the wrong conclusion. They say integration destroyed Black families, that proximity to white culture corrupted us, that we were better off separated. That's not just wrong, it's dangerous. What actually happened is that the system adapted its attack. When overt oppression became illegal, when they couldn't segregate us by law anymore, when they had to stop openly terrorizing us, the system developed new weapons to accomplish the same goal, destroying Black families. Enter mass incarceration, the single most devastating policy targeting Black families in modern history. Starting in the 1970s and accelerating dramatically in the 1980s and 1990s, America began locking up Black people, primarily Black men, at rates never seen before in human history. The war on drugs, mandatory minimum sentences, three strikes laws, aggressive policing in Black neighborhoods, all of it combined to create a prison industrial complex that has incarcerated millions of Black men. Think about what this does to families. A father gets arrested for a nonviolent drug offense, something that happens in white communities with no consequences. He gets sentenced to 10, 15, 20 years. His children grow up without him. His wife or girlfriend has to raise the children alone. When he finally gets out, he's marked as a felon. He can't get a job. He can't get housing. He can't vote. He's systematically excluded from participating in society or providing for his family. This pattern has been repeated millions of times over the past 50 years. The numbers are staggering. More Black men are under correctional control today than were enslaved in 1850. Let that sink in. We have more Black men in prison, on probation, or on parole right now than we had enslaved before the Civil War. This is not accidental. This is not just about crime and punishment. This is systematic family destruction dressed up as criminal justice policy. But mass incarceration is just one weapon. Let's talk about economic policies that targeted Black families. The deindustrialization of America from the 1970s onward eliminated millions of manufacturing jobs that had provided stable employment for Black men without college degrees. These were jobs that allowed a man to support a family, buy a home, build wealth. Those jobs disappeared, moved overseas, or automated away, and nothing replaced them. Black unemployment skyrocketed. Without the ability to provide economically, many Black men felt they couldn't be husbands and fathers. Marriage rates dropped because people couldn't afford to get married or felt economically unworthy. The welfare system became another weapon against Black families. Policies were specifically designed to discourage marriage. If a woman wanted to receive assistance for her children, she often had to prove no man was living in the household. This created perverse incentives that penalized stable relationships. Fathers had to leave home or stay hidden so their families could access basic survival resources. The system literally forced families apart by making poverty assistance conditional on family separation. Housing discrimination continued long after it became illegal. Redlining kept Black families trapped in specific neighborhoods. Predatory lending targeted Black homeowners. When Black families did manage to buy homes and build equity, discriminatory practices stripped that wealth away. The 2008 financial crisis devastated Black wealth specifically because Black families were disproportionately targeted for subprime mortgages. Decades of savings and home equity vanished overnight. This kind of economic instability makes maintaining families incredibly difficult. The education system has been another battleground. Schools in Black neighborhoods are systematically underfunded. The school-to-prison pipeline pushes Black children, especially boys, out of education and into the criminal justice system. Zero-tolerance policies, police in schools, suspensions and expulsions for minor infractions, all of this disproportionately affects Black students. When children can't get quality education, when they're criminalized from elementary school, when they're pushed out of institutions designed to prepare them for success, how are they supposed to become adults capable of forming and maintaining stable families? Healthcare disparities affect Black families in devastating ways. Black mothers die in childbirth at rates 3 to 4 times higher than white mothers. Black babies die in infancy at twice the rate of white babies. Black people have shorter life expectancies, higher rates of chronic illness, less access to quality healthcare. These health disparities tear families apart through premature death and disability. They create stress and trauma that impacts relationship stability. They drain family resources and energy that could otherwise go toward building strong bonds. Environmental racism concentrates pollution, lead exposure, and toxic conditions in Black neighborhoods. Children in these communities suffer from asthma, developmental delays, and health problems that affect their entire lives. Parents have to navigate these environmental hazards while trying to raise healthy children. The stress of living in poisoned environments takes a toll on families that people in clean, safe neighborhoods never have to consider. The war on drugs specifically targeted Black communities with crack cocaine sentencing disparities that were explicitly racist. Powder cocaine, used primarily in white communities, carried light sentences. Crack cocaine, more common in Black communities, carried sentences 100 times harsher for the same amount of the same drug. This wasn't about public safety. This was about locking up Black people and destroying Black families while leaving white drug users alone. All of these policies, all of these systems work together to create the family breakdown we see today. It's not one thing. It's an interconnected web of oppression designed to make Black family stability nearly impossible. And here's what's most insidious about it. After implementing all these destructive policies, after systematically attacking Black families for generations, the system then points at resulting damage and says, see, Black people don't value family. Black people are dysfunctional. This is a cultural problem. No, this is a structural problem. This is a systemic problem. This is an oppression problem. Black people value family as much as anyone else. We fight harder than anyone else to keep our families together because we're fighting against a system designed to tear us apart. The fact that any Black families survive intact under these conditions is a testament to our strength, not evidence of our weakness. And this is where Islam becomes so important for Black Americans. Allah commands us to honor family bonds, to marry, to raise children in stable households, to maintain kinship ties. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emphasized the importance of family structure and community support. Islam provides a framework for building and maintaining families that directly counters the destructive forces we face. When we embrace Islam authentically, we're choosing a value system that prioritizes family in ways that American culture does not. We're committing to marriage as a sacred bond. We're accepting responsibility for our children and our extended family. We're building communities that support families rather than tear them apart. We're rejecting the individualism and materialism that makes family formation difficult. We're creating an alternative to the oppressive systems that have targeted us. But embracing Islam is not enough by itself. We must also actively resist the policies and systems that continue to target our families. We must fight mass incarceration by demanding criminal justice reform, supporting alternatives to imprisonment, and working to restore rights to those with criminal records. We must fight economic injustice by supporting Black businesses, creating cooperative economic structures, and demanding fair wages and employment opportunities. We must reform the welfare system to support families staying together rather than forcing them apart. We must fight housing discrimination and work to build wealth in our communities. We must demand quality education and the removal of police from schools. We must address healthcare disparities and environmental racism. We must do the political, economic, and social work necessary to dismantle the systems that have targeted our families. At the same time, we must rebuild from within. We must recommit to marriage and family formation. We must support young couples trying to build lives together. We must mentor young people and show them what healthy relationships look like. We must embrace extended family structures where aunts, uncles, grandparents, and cousins all play active roles in raising children. We must create community institutions that wrap around families and provide support. We must stop blaming each other for structural problems. Black men are not the enemy. Black women are not the problem. We are all victims of systematic oppression, and we need each other to survive it. We must extend grace to those who are struggling, understanding that they're fighting against forces much larger than themselves. We must celebrate those who succeed in maintaining families despite all obstacles. The breakdown of Black families is not our fault, but the rebuilding is our responsibility. We cannot wait for the system to change. We cannot wait for oppression to end. We must build strong families right now, in the midst of ongoing attacks, just like our ancestors did. We must marry with intention. We must parent with purpose. We must love with commitment. We must support with consistency. This work is urgent. Every generation that grows up without strong family structures is a generation that struggles to create them for the next. Every child raised without a father present parent has a harder time becoming a present father. Every person who never sees a healthy marriage struggles to create one. We must break these cycles by deliberately, intentionally, sacrificially building the families our community needs. Black America, understand what has been done to us. Recognize the systematic nature of the assault on our families. Stop accepting the narrative that this is our fault or our failure. But also recognize that understanding oppression is not the same as overcoming it. We must do both. We must see the system clearly and build families anyway. We must acknowledge the obstacles and commit to family formation despite them. We must honor those who came before us, who maintained families under even worse conditions, and continue their legacy. Our families are under attack, but they are not defeated. Our family structures have been damaged, but they are not destroyed. We can rebuild. We must rebuild. With Allah's guidance, with community support, with intentional commitment, with revolutionary love, we can restore Black family strength, not by going backward to some imagined perfect past, but by moving forward with clear eyes, strong values, and unshakable determination. The weapon formed against us will not prosper if we recognize it for what it is and fight back with everything we have.